It was supposed to be an ordinary Tuesday morning at Crestwood High. Chemistry lab smelled faintly of alcohol and chalk, and students shuffled to their seats as Ms. Carter, a calm, confident black woman in her late 30s, wrote the day's experiment on the board. But at the back of the class, Ethan, a white student, leaned back in his chair, smirking. He was known for being loud and disrespectful, a bully who liked attention. Today, he had a new target. When Miss Carter called his name, asking him to focus, he muttered something under his breath. The class went quiet. Everyone felt the tension rise. "Excuse me, Ethan," Miss Carter asked, her voice steady. He smirked. "Nothing, ma'am. Just wondering how someone like you got this job." The class gasped. One girl whispered, "Oh no, he didn't." Miss Carter's hand paused in midair. She took a deep breath, looked at Ethan, and said softly, "In this class, respect isn't optional, it's expected." But Ethan wasn't done. As she walked past his desk, he rolled his eyes and muttered, "You don't belong here." The words stung, not because they were new, but because she had heard them all her life. Still, Ms. Carter stayed composed. "Let's begin the experiment," she said, turning back to the class. For a while, things were quiet, but then Ethan knocked over his beaker, splashing chemicals on the floor. "Oops," he said with a grin. "Step back," Ms. Carter ordered calmly. She grabbed a towel and bent down to clean it. But before she could, Ethan stood up suddenly and blocked her path. "Maybe you should clean faster," he sneered. "Ethan, that's enough," she warned, but he stepped closer, his face red. "You think you can talk to me like that? You're just..." Before he could finish, he reached out and grabbed her by the throat. The entire room froze. Students screamed. A chair fell. Miss Carter didn't panic. Her eyes locked on his, calm and focused. She gently placed her hand on his wrist, and in a blur, she twisted his arm behind his back, forcing him down to his knees in one smooth, precise motion. Ethan yelped in pain. "What are you doing?" She leaned close, her voice quiet but firm. "Teaching you boundaries." Security rushed in seconds later. Alerted by the commotion, they took Ethan to the principal's office as whispers filled the room. Some students looked shocked, others looked impressed. When Ms. Carter finally stood up, she said nothing. She just dusted off her hands, took a slow breath, and said, "Let's clean up and continue." But inside, her heart was pounding, not because she was scared, but because she was disappointed. Later that afternoon, the principal called her in. "Ms. Carter, I heard what happened," he said. "Ethan's parents are furious. They're saying you assaulted their son." She sighed. "I defended myself." "I know," the principal replied, "but they want an investigation." That evening, Ms. Carter sat alone in her small apartment. She looked at an old photo on the wall herself in a Marine uniform, standing proudly among her unit. The photo reminded her of who she was before teaching, a woman who had served her country, trained in discipline, and fought for equality. She hadn't told anyone at the school about her past. She wanted to be seen as an educator, not a soldier. But the next day, when she returned to school, the rumors were everywhere. Some students said she attacked Ethan. Others said she was a hero. At lunch, she found a group of students waiting outside her classroom. "Ms. Carter," one of them said, "we just wanted to say, we saw everything. You didn't do anything wrong. You were protecting yourself." She smiled softly. "Thank you. Always stand up for what's right, but never with hate." That afternoon, she was called into a meeting with Ethan, his parents, and the school board. The atmosphere was tense. Ethan's father, a wealthy businessman, glared at her. "You put your hands on my son," he said. "You're lucky we don't press charges." Ms. Carter sat silently as he spoke. Then, calmly, she said, "Your son attacked me first. I didn't hurt him. I stopped him. That's all." Ethan's mother looked uneasy. There must be another side to this. That's when the principal spoke. "We have security footage." The screen showed everything. Ethan's aggression, the chokehold, and how Ms. Carter restrained him without striking back. When the clip ended, the room was silent. Ethan's father looked furious, but the truth was undeniable. Ms. Carter stood. "I didn't come here to fight. I came here to teach your son discipline and respect the same values. I learned serving this country." Ethan's eyes widened. "Wait, you were in the military?" She nodded. "Us, Marines, 8 years. I've seen real fights, Ethan. But nothing hurts more than ignorance and hate." For the first time, Ethan looked ashamed. His father shifted uncomfortably. I didn't know," he muttered. Ms. Carter smiled faintly. "Now you do." As the meeting ended, Ethan stayed behind. "Ms. Carter," he said quietly, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." She stopped him with a gentle wave of her hand. "Apologies only matter if you change afterward. Learn to respect people, even when they're different from you. That's the real strength." He nodded, eyes down. Weeks passed, The story spread around the school, but this time, it carried a different message, one of respect. Ethan started helping out in class. He never made another rude comment. One afternoon, as students left the lab, he lingered behind. "Ms. Carter," he said, "I signed up for ROT." She raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Really?" "Yeah," he said. "I want to learn some of that discipline you talked about." Ms. Carter smiled warmly. "I think that's a great start." Ethan, the bell rang, and he walked out, leaving her standing there, proud and thoughtful. Later that evening, she locked the classroom door, looked out the window, and whispered, "Maybe some lessons just take time." The camera pans out from the empty classroom, sunlight streaming through the blinds, reflecting on the lab tables. Respect isn't given by race or rank. It's earned through understanding. Hate divides, but kindness heals.